White Centipede Noise Podcast is made possible by your support via Patreon. Go to patreon.com/White Centipede Noise to support, and stay tuned to hear about the exclusive benefits and bonus content available with this episode. Yeah, cool. We didn't get to do this last week. I usually do the last.
Are you in Hawaii now?
Yeah, I am in Hawaii.
Sorry.
I usually do the last week of every month.
Cycling that joke. It's a good one though.
But last week I couldn't, and then I had an episode lined up for tomorrow. And as soon as I started advertising it, the artist in question wrote me and said he doesn't want me to do it anymore. So I thought we'll do the video party instead, because we missed it last month, and this will go out unless it really sucks and shits the bed. I'll put this out publicly tomorrow as the podcast episode. So I think I warned everyone. I hope I made that clear. You guys will all be internet famous tomorrow.
Our noise roll is severely bummed that this didn't get on, because that dude, I don't even know the guy at all. Fuck, I don't know, just by reputation.
It might come around. We'll see. But anyway,
good work on it.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we'll make sure it shits the bed as much as possible.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, Andy, you're back. How was your tour in the States? The Scream and Writhe Forum is a place where people are free to share their thoughts on noise and related culture, post album reviews, promote shows and new releases, and maintain the kind of healthy discourse that is vital to the noise scene at large, away from the strain of social media algorithms and irrelevant advertisements. And we are always looking for people like you to join in and continue the discussion. Visit screamandride.com/forum to get in on the action. In addition to the message board, there are always over 2,000 items in stock at Scream and Ride Distro, plus several new releases on Absurd Exposition, including Barstool Mountain, Tightrope Walker LP, and tapes from Casa di Caccia, Milena and the Rita, Murmur and Muttering, and ZK. Scream and Writhe offers cheap domestic shipping rates to the USA and Canada, and affordable shipping rates worldwide. Visit screamandwrithe.com for the stock, and add /forum for the talk. International Misanthropy and Fringe presents Friday, September 15th, 2023 at the Kingsland in Brooklyn. Bob Marinelli, Star, Alberic, DSM-3, Half Mortal, Dust Belt, Skin Crime, and Laureate. Show starts at 6 p.m. Tickets are $25 and available at the door only. Friday, September 15th, 2023 at the Kingsland in Brooklyn. Also, official Skin Crime Audio Pathology long sleeve now available from Hospital Productions, as well as Skin Crime Recreation t-shirt. Support the artist with this official merchandise at hospitalproductions.net.
It's great, except like now I'm addicted to American food, so I just ate a Big Mac and fries and stuff. Like I maxed it as well. Like I paid an extra euro, but no, and it was fucking great. Yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool touring with Shredded Nerve and Jackson Pratt. Johnny and Justin, dream team. It was really cool. Yeah,
awesome.
So, I mean, I could go on and on, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I saw you collabed with Dillaway. I saw some sets of you like sitting on the ground in like some like old, dirty looking yard playing. Like it looked pretty.
Yeah. I mean, it was great for him because there was chickens in the yard as well, and he did that show with he owns chickens as well, and it was. In I don't know if you know this paper rad guy CF. It was in Brooklyn in CF's house, and they have a cool backyard, and it was like the biggest party they've ever done there. They only do it occasionally because they get so many complaints. But I did that because I ended up changing my ticket and staying an extra day just to do that. So
cool.
Yeah, and we recorded everything, and it sounded pretty great. So. That should be coming out sometime.
Great.
And the Summer Scum was amazing, really cool place, and a lot of great bands and a lot of new stuff that I didn't know as well. So that was fun. And Mayuko Hino, got to hang out with her a lot more. And
heard she was amazing.
She's super funny as well. That's another thing that some people don't know. But yeah, she's great. She doesn't even describe it as music. She describes it as like cleansing or something like that. Like therapy.
Cool.
Anyway, no,
nice. That's awesome.
And
how did that work out with your gear? Like you talked to me that you said you were gonna like bring your devices and use them. What you?
I played it safe. I brought a few little things that the customs wouldn't understand what the fuck they were, and then borrowed like the essentials, like a mixer and things like that. So it worked out quite well. Yeah. And nice. I'm quite minimalist these days anyway, with a couple of like 2 or 3 tape machines and a mixer and this Nord micro modular thing that I use with all these patches inside it. It's enough, So.
Nice. Was anyone else there? Summer Scum?
Was anyone else there?
From this group. Anyone here? No.
I caught the Philly set.
Oh yeah, okay. Hey, that was the one.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was the one in the woods, right?
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was nice. Except the mosquitoes were not so nice.
Yeah.
They have mosquitoes in France like that?
Not as big as those fuckers, no. Yeah, so we did. What did we do? We did Summer Scum, then 2 days off. So I went to Coney Island, which was really nice, and then Philly, Baltimore, and Richmond, Warehouse in Richmond, which is an amazing place as well.
Yeah.
Like I asked that, it looks like nothing from the outside, but when you go in, it's like, oh fuck, okay, they're really serious, And there's all these posters on the walls saying like, drug tests available and things like that, and and like no inappropriate behavior and blah blah blah, and no photos of the bands unless they give you express permission. Very strict, Wow. I asked the sound guy, like, how many speakers do you have here? And he counted them and he was like, 12. So we played through like 12 speakers and all around, like surround sound kind of thing. It was really great.
Nice.
Wait, Andy, you said this is in Richmond?
Yeah, Virginia.
Let me ask, were there signs saying not to like hang out around other like the nearby buildings because they had problems? Yeah, I played there too.
It's like this blue building on the outside. It's blue on the outside, and it's in the kind of industrial zone kind of.
Yeah, we played there. Those, I mean, it sounds like you had a better time than me. They tried to rip Sam and I off.
Oh, really?
At the end of the night, yeah, they tried to not pay Sam and I at that spot.
What was the guy? Was it kind of a youngish kind of punk guy doing the sound, like with a lot of tattoos, like neck tattoos and stuff?
No, this might be. Cool. Oh, no. That's God, I'm blanking on his name, but he used to do heavy breathing. He did that project, Heavy Breathing. I'm blanking on his name right now. But yeah, he wasn't doing sound that night. It was this guy Jay, who's from that band Cough or whatever. He was doing the sound that night for us, but we definitely, Sam and I had to fucking fight for this for the 150, even though they had lied and said they were going to give us 200 each. They tried to not. So
I think it's like really abstract for people to conceptualize that they have to pay people who play noise like at the end of the night.
Yes.
Like, wait, you guys want to be paid too? Like, why?
Yeah, we're the fucking support. I mean, it's like, dude, like there were a couple of times on this tour explaining to people, being like, no, you're not going to play before us because we're the tour support. We got chosen to support them on the tour. It's fucking dumb. And I was telling Sam too that, I guess that's a struggle of playing a mixed bill sometimes, is that it's like, if you don't have a drum set or a guitar, people like to treat you like you're less than. Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
I might have been lucky because maybe if there's like I'm not showing off or anything, but if you're from overseas, then maybe you get treated a little bit better and people pay you a little bit better, and
for sure.
And then that means that they pay, I mean, I didn't complain, like they paid Justin and Shawnee pretty well. All of us were really happy about it, and actually when we played in Baltimore, those guys were really surprised. They were like, every time we played in this fucking town, it sucked, and we never got paid or anything. But this time it was like, worked really well. And they were like, actually, I quite like Baltimore now,
Cool.
So,
I mean, I'm glad Richmond was good for you.
Yeah, it was all good. It was great. The only bad experience I had was in Brooklyn, standing outside a hotel smoking, and there was this kind of cracked out looking guy walking past, and I made the mistake of saying to him, offering him a cigarette. And he said, "I'm going to chop your fucking head off and stomp on it, white boy." I was like, okay, sorry, man.
Don't offer cigarettes to people.
No. In New York City, don't interact with people you don't know.
Right. That's right, Mac.
Yeah, see, Eddie, you know the deal, dude. That's like any big city living, dude. Do not interact with the loonies or people you don't know ever, man. No.
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, basically these people, I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but, it takes one to know one. So, don't talk to strangers. Hey, man, how did your show in New York go, man? I was on the phone with Greg Cook, man. He was down at your show.
Yeah. Great. Oh, dude, New York was wild. New York was a good time. New York was an absolute blast. Good venue. The show was fucking jam packed. Sold a lot of merch. Was just a great time. But the worst part of the New York experience for me was I walked 1.5 miles one way to go to a dispensary that didn't exist anymore. And then there was another one nearby, and that didn't exist anymore. So I walked 3 miles for no reason that day. But other than that, New York fucking cool, man. I love it there.
I've been trying to tell Justin and Matt that they should do like a Dead Gods strain of weed. Like that would be super cool. Like package it like a tape, like approach it like with their artwork and make it like a handmade packaging kind of thing. I don't know. And like call it something cool. I don't know.
The little baggies with the logo on it.
Yeah, exactly. And sell it out of their little shop. I mean, I'm sure that's not easy to do legally, but at the same time, I bet probably no one would.
Dude, you could do it. I mean, honestly, I want to figure out a way how to do God is War mushrooms. All about the psychedelics. Straight up.
Holy shit.
All about it. I mean, realistically, if I could have it my way, it'd be God is War acid. But it's a bit more complicated and all that shit. But mushrooms or morsels would be fantastic. Yeah, see? Yeah, me too, Habibi.
But I think you can get away with crazy names with just repackaging weed and stuff like that these days. Like I've got this one called Pineapple Piss. I don't know if you can.
Pineapple Piss.
Yeah, what the fuck? It's like invented by an AI or something.
I'd want to try it.
It's fucking strong.
Did you bring that back from the States?
No, I stole it from someone in Paris.
In Paris?
Yeah, well, I accidentally stole it.
Okay. Nice.
I think but it might be from Amsterdam, I think. What?
I haven't seen any pineapple piss here.
Oh, okay. Well, it's kind of confusing because on the back it says Grape Inferno.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's packaged on a pineapple piss thing.
Is that the brand? Is pineapple the brand?
Yeah. So it's backwards, I think. But,
there's no storefront out here with just like a neon pineapple taking a piss.
Yeah.
I really want to. I've thought about making like a super cut of like rap songs where they use like really vulgar, like potty words to describe like what they're smoking, because that's like a thing. They'll be like, I'm smoking on like it smells like a fart or something. They'll use all these like references to like talk about how like their weed is so strong and fucked up that it smells like either shit or a fart or piss or something like that.
Smoking on that dog shit.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like,
yeah, that might be where that's coming from, actually. But that idea.
Good loud packs smell like cat piss.
Yeah, exactly.
Dog shit, straight gas.
Oh, now I get why Tracy, why this one grime rapper has a track called Cat Pack. Now I get it now because he says it's like smoking on cat piss or whatever. Yeah, dude. Oh, now I get it. Oh wow. Thanks for that revelation. Yeah, word up.
Yeah. So what's everyone else that's not a superstar been up to? Harrison is here, Mr. Harrison. Phyllis, Systems. I'm reissuing the fantastic Systems tape Endless Tunnel in a couple weeks. Hopefully, like in, I don't know if anyone's heard that tape, or it's on Bandcamp. You can hear it, but we remastered. It's super, super good, and that'll be out soon. So good to see you here, Harrison. You guys need to check in on what he's doing for sure.
Well, that's the biggest thing. Other than that, I've got a 4-way split with Toanch, Dwelling, Jute, and Slacking.
Wow.
Out on Scream and Writhe.
At
some point, I don't know. It's on the Scream and Writhe ad in the latest issue of the Untitled zine. So.
Yeah, I just got the Slacking track the other day. It sounds pretty sick, and I got your track obviously. So I think we're still just waiting on Sam and Barrett to finish some stuff up. And yeah. Barrett has some cool design ideas. He showed me this little like pouch that kind of like holds 2 tapes. Kind of like there's an old Paintrick release that I was doing that, or maybe multiple that are in that style. Like Saudi, the red one, whatever that one's called. Like it's a red box, and you can fit 2 tapes inside.
That the one with like the curved top and bottom?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're like a little poster tube.
Yeah, but like, just the size of...
It's like a Pringle?
Like a what?
Like a Pringle?
Yeah, exactly. So that's coming along. I'm stoked to get that done. Barrett's kind of doing all the design and packaging for it, and then it's just gonna... I'll do the money end of it, I guess. But Barrett's got this cool concept for it, so...
Nice. That's a great line. That's a great 4-way group of guys.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Yeah. Sick.
Sounds great. I haven't heard it, but yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but Custodian is back.
Yeah.
He's here. And he's making
ready
noise
to clean
again.
Up.
He's making noise again, and that's really cool. I'm really happy about that.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely
Hopefully it doesn't suck.
Come on, Garmin. Come on.
We're not, man. We're not.
It's not gonna suck. It's gonna rule. I already know it.
I heard. Well, he sent me one short track that he said was for the comp, and then he told me later that at least I understood it being for the comp. He said it's just a sample of what's for the comp. He's gonna send something else, but it's super sick, and it's like old Custodian but better. And so, that's really, really exciting. So glad you're back, John.
I saw in the story that you're using like your mobile phone, but controlling like devices. That's fucking sick. Like,
very sick.
I just, you know me and trying to keep stripping down, 2 pedals down to just my phone. And I just ordered a Bluetooth like receiver, so I won't even like when I play out, I'm not even gonna have a cable.
That's sick. I mean, it's always good to have less gear. So,
and you're just gonna be on your iPhone, like literally.
Yep.
That's
cool. I just got back from Montana. I went out to Montana for about a week, and I'm on. I'm on the flight, like fucking jamming, like New Custodian, and recording right there, taking recordings right from, the airport that I was just walking through and mangling that and just dump it right into AUM and start fucking cutting it up. And Yeah, it's different. I didn't want to do the same because with the other gear, I was pretty locked into that's all I can do. And I figured I already made 12 of the same release. Try to do something a little different, reinvent it.
It's definitely like the logical evolution or devolution of what you've always done. I mean, like, you've always been into that, like, and you were using iPads for quite a while and like finger pad drumming and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
that's exciting. I think that's also bold. It's also bold to do. I think like I mean, obviously there's so much criticism and there's so much loaded shit with an iPhone, like an iPhone or a smartphone. Like that's such a strong symbol right now. So to be going like with that as your main source and like not just source, but like whole setup of noise and performing that way, that's like,
well, and it's I record right to it as well, so I can record and edit and master right on it.
Right. I mean, it's contemporary like noise art somehow, so makes sense, and we all can we have all a big connection to it. So for me, it totally makes sense to go this step.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't really
even really good for going through customs. Sorry to interrupt, but
no, go ahead. Yeah, it's like I don't even have to bring any gear ever to anything. It's just like, just bring that little Bluetooth receiver and use it as a DI and right into the sound system wherever that is.
Yeah, like my my best friend Roro Vomier. Well, one of my best friends, he does that basically. He just plugs his phone in. But for a while, early on, he felt guilty about doing that, so he would bring a whole bunch of gear, like a fucking tape echo and some pedals and shit, and put them on the table, but not even plug them in. And actually, just for the visual thing. And then eventually, he was like, "What am I doing? I don't need to care."
I mean, when I remember right, when Bomir played some years ago at CTM Festival in Berlin in Bergheim, which was fucking sick. Right. And he had when I remember right, he had just one tape player, and it was a big table, and it was just a small tape player in the middle of the table, and he pressed just start and stands there for 20 minutes. That was amazing.
But that tape player probably wasn't plugged in. It was probably
probably.
Yeah, well, I'm used to doing the when I was doing the finger drumming, the Akai pad with Brodekin, that was pretty much I'm going to shoot myself in the foot with sketchy gear. So kind of enjoy that now that I had the entire death metal scene pissed off at me for 3 years. It's well, I have this whole other group of people that I can aggravate too now. So let's try.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was kind of trying to get at is
you guys still don't like laptops? Check this out.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was kind of trying to get as you might be I hope you're braced for some stink eye,
used to it.
I was really surprised because I saw your set way back in 2014 at that Brighter Death Now and Raison d'Etre show at Club Rectum, and I was very surprised to only see 2 pieces of gear on the table. So I was just so used to seeing at least 5 or 6 things on tables, and that was one of the first 10 noise shows I ever saw.
If I can interject, is that the one where there's a video of it? I'm pretty sure that's the one where Jim Turge is moshing in that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch that obsessively when I was young. That's probably the best thing I've seen in my life in terms of harsh noise live sets or whatever. But
it was a fucking killer time.
Listen to the new
What'd you say, Henry?
I was gonna say I listened to the new Custodian, and it reminds me of Third Organ in the sense how sharp and digital it sounds, but very It's not bad. It's very punishing. I mean, if these people are going to complain about it, good. That's their fucking problem.
Yeah, I mean, I like the. I mean, I'm probably in somewhat of a minority that I do like the super digitized, super just cold. You know what I mean? It's like I do like the fuzzier, warmer analog production for certain stuff, but just not mine. You know, I just has to be super, super sharp. That's just what I hear. You know,
nice.
Maybe it's not I even like to listen to either. You know, but just for my what I like to hear out of my own shit, I just prefer digital. That digital fucking razor sharp, super cold.
And you got a tape coming up soon already? I don't want to say. Can you tell about that, or is that still a secret?
No, I mean I'm gonna do a tape. It's gonna be with Jim.
On Fusty.
It's gonna be short. It's gonna be super short. Probably like.
No.
But yeah, it's gonna be with the other like how I left off with custodian stuff. It was very like bring in a loop, bring in some feedback layer over it, you know, cut back into a different loop, bring a layer in. It's going to be more streamlined. It's almost like the first couple custodians that were more like
fluid
pieces. They were more fluid. It's going to be more towards that. And the loops are going to come in and out with less of a warning, and it's not going to be as layered. And I think I'm gonna sit on things longer too. Like instead of a loop going for 3 seconds, might go for longer. You know, if I'm into it, it's just gonna keep going.
Nice.
And not be as layered. I just kind of want more of like, you know, more of a flow, like how you kind of described. It's more flowing.
Yeah, great. What I've heard is really good, so happy about that. Happy to have that in the compilation. Yeah, the compilation's coming well. I'm still waiting on a lot of people, but got a new track from 2 assistant deputy ministers just last week, which is very, very good. Is that new? Is that new, Jason? Is that new material?
Yeah, I keep telling people telling people, the 2 people, it's just the sound that I kept not wanting to do for the longest time. And yet when it came down to it, it's like, okay, I got to get this shit out, and just went back to the same, but trying to make the same better based on where my brain was at that point. So it's like, okay, yeah. Does that make any sense? You know?
Yeah.
I just, there's some, I think much more than Mr. Ingman, Mr. Custodian there. I've so second guessed all of what I had done, and just assumed. Anyway, just having this conception in my brain that I'm just going to go completely away from that. And then when it comes to actually pressing the record button, you know, it's going to be that same shit. Yeah. So it's kind of funny.
Is that how you feel about that's how you feel about the new material?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like I kind of feel like it's like the last gasps of that particular sound, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's going to be the start. Maybe it's going to be a start of something. Gasp. Yeah, maybe it's going to be a new gasp instead of a last gasp. We'll see. Anyway. Yeah. As long as it's harsh.
Yeah, it's harsh as fuck.
I've always thought of TADM or TADM as being the equivalent of like a electronic data wire going through the brain, dumping intense amounts of data at the most shocking, intense voltage level. the same way of a rage-induced or just a temper tantrum. I don't know.
I kind of feel like that the last Incapacitants album, right? The OE Old Europa Cafe, which is like, I forget the title of it, but it was entitled like OEC, right? It was just a mock-up of the OEC label, and it was the first or second track, probably the first track, and that was like pure fucking power electronics as I would have envisioned it if no one had ever told me what the fuck power electronics was. It's like you fucking, mainline fucking yourself to the fucking grid. And that's what it was. It's like, you can see, Mikawa with the fucking healing. He's fucking got the wire tapped into his brain. He's like, doing the Mikawa dance. And that's, I want to hear that. So stuff that just sounds like just the pure, wired into the fucking grid. Anyway,
I was kind of talking a little bit.
Caps fan forever.
Can I ask a little question about maybe a boring question? Is it like 3 CDs? Is that what it's going to be? The compilation?
Hopefully. Well, I mean, it'll be however many tracks I get. I mean,
because it's it's a huge list.
It's a huge list of people who said they're going to give me something, and if I've told them to keep it to 3 minutes, but that's really short. So I said 3 to 5 is okay. And then I want to put like a 30 to 60 second excerpt of each person's interview before each track.
Oh, okay.
So that's the idea. I mean, so
that's embarrassing.
Nah, it'll be cool.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's
you guys understood that, right? I've tried to explain that multiple times.
It's gotta be that.
You understood that, right? I tried to make that very clear.
I didn't know that, but okay.
As long as you gotta get, even if he's not on the compilation, get Emile Bolio in there just to like do an Emile Bolio bit.
Yeah.
He could do an intro, maybe. Yeah.
He should.
Now there's Seymour.
No, he should do all these.
Fucking amazing.
Well, I'm trying to get him on the podcast. I asked him recently, and he said he's not feeling like it today, but maybe he'll think about it.
Just get him to DJ the album or something.
Yeah, exactly. So
awesome.
So to your question, 3 CDs. If everyone who said they're going to give me a track gives me the track, it'll be at least 3 CDs. It could end up being 4 CDs. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a long ass. It's going to be like a sound archive of the podcast. Basically, it's up to 2 years. So. Hopefully, there's a few people who won't be on it, unfortunately, but so far most people said yeah.
I had a track for you, but I just kept going, and it's turning into a whole release. So I'll have to figure out how to make a short track for you.
That's fine. Yeah, there's still time, but
I had some problems like that as well. Like I'm doing it with Richard Rupinas, the New Blockaders, and he sent me these materials. He sent me like 3 5-minute tracks to work with, and I just really loved one of them, so I just used one of them and kind of multi-tracked with my stuff and kept it pretty much straight otherwise. And he was like, Andy, where's the other track with all the screaming on it and everything? So apparently I've got to redo it for this. And then, because it was going to be on this like Mexican grindcore compilation as well, and then I invited him to join me for the White Centipede one, so it's getting a bit confusing now, but we'll send you something soon.
Get me something by October 19th. October 19th, the door closes, and then whoever's on it is on it, and then that's when we'll see how many discs it ends up being.
Right. Ooh.
Oscar.
I still owe you, Oscar.
What about the cover? Sorry.
I don't know about the cover yet, but I want to. There's a lot of people. There's some people I've interviewed that don't do music or noise. So I'm kind of talking to some of those people who do labels about maybe, work on a layout, work on artwork. Kate DeVoe from Noise Widow wants to do something. She's probably gonna do a little zine for it or a little booklet or something like that. We'll see what but definitely gonna involve her. Manuel wants to do some artwork, so maybe he'll do the cover in the end. We'll see. I'm trying to get everyone who can and wants to be in it participating in some way. So
you just have the centipede as the artwork as well, the front cover.
Yep.
I could. I mean that. Yeah, I could. We'll see.
Yeah.
Can you edit tracks?
No, that'd be hard.
Can I edit tracks? Yes, I can.
Okay, I sent you a video if you want to use it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Nice. We'll figure it out. There's still a lot of people haven't sent me anything yet. A lot of people said they're going to send me something, haven't sent me anything. Some people ignored me straight out. So if you're listening to this and I've sent you multiple emails asking if you want to be on it or anything like that, and you haven't answered me once, at least write me back, please. That's not appreciated. But yeah, I think it'll be sick. I mean, I've already got a bunch of great tracks, and people who said they're gonna give me something stiller. It's gonna be crazy. So
Joe Roma sent you something, didn't he?
He did.
Yep. He was gonna. Yeah.
He did.
Cool. Because I'm working on a new thing with him as well. So
nice.
He sent me some fucking crazy, amazing source materials. Like, just sounds like really 90s macro stuff. Like, but he said it's new, so he's still recording that one.
Awesome.
He sent me some stuff. I've been working on this 4-way with K2, Black Throw, and OVMN for a long ass time, and Joe sent me a track of it that 128 kbps MP3, but it does sound exactly like something that would have come out of the 90s.
Yeah. He keeps apologizing for being so non-tech savvy. Like he only knows how to record in MP3, and I don't know what's going on with him. But yeah, he said that my files were MP3 as well, but it's good enough,
It's good enough, especially if you use it put on a tape.
Yeah, I don't know, or even on vinyl. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I can't really tell the difference, to be honest, between if it's a good enough quality MP3 or a WAV file. I can't really tell.
Speaking of MP3s, I made a little channel in the Discord for like file sharing, because I kind of started thinking about like those old blogs that existed on the mid 2000s, like all those Sickness Abounds and shit like that, to like get that stuff together. And Will just recently sent over noisemp3.com.
I was thinking about that site lately,
dude. It's still up, and it's got like all those classic mid 2000s artists on there, and tracks by them. Like, you can just fucking rip it off there. You can just listen to it off there. It's super cool. It's got these like super small thumbnails of all these guys behind their gear in like 2004. It's really cool.
Hope Joanna.
Hey Oscar, is Sickness Abounds still around?
I don't think so. I think that one is down, but there's some
I was
other.
Gonna say respect to that page though, because I mean it opened up the door to me for everything pretty much. I'll never forget discovering that blog for the first time.
For sure. I'm gonna put the noise MP3 in the chat right now. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, when that stuff was really active, I didn't really use it that much. I was kind of like a purist against it. I was like, I only buy noise stuff and blah blah blah. But now I'm like, man, I could really go for some of that.
Oh, my go-to was harshnoise.com.
Rip it.
Here, I'm putting it in the.
Just rip it up.
The following noise video is brought to you by the White Centipede Noise Maniac Circle. For information on the artist and track, check the description of this episode. I'm wondering if there's a better, like, with the technological possibilities now and networks and things like that, is there like a better option for easy file sharing, like between people, like kind of like a SoulSeek thing that could be like on a smaller scale, like between like us or something like that, like between, I mean, I don't know. WeTransfer, you can send.
You can probably set up like a Dropbox account and just grant access to people who want it and put files in there.
Or you can
that does work really well.
Private torrents as well. There can be you can create a private torrent from anyone can do it from their own computer, and you can just share it to the server. The link.
Share like
I'd love to get back into torrenting. It's been like 10 fucking years or something. It's been a long ass time. I don't know, that's for ideas.
That'd be fun if there's a way to like kind of build a small, easy to use network of just sharing like files, like shit we have on our computers and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not super all about sharing stuff that's available for sale, but at the same time, there's so much noise out there now, especially older stuff that's not findable anymore. It'd be cool to just be able to grab that easier, because like in this day and age, all those blog spots are down. All those, I don't know. It's like there's new stuff on Bandcamp, but finding those old rips and stuff like that, it's not super easy.
I've been using Bandcamp just to put stuff that I want people to hear, not to sell. Really, I don't give just like make a new track and put it up there just for fun, I mean, that's always an option.
Yeah, that's cool too.
Why not? YouTube is another one, obviously. In fact, but fuck them.
Yeah, all this shit seems like it's getting much more. I don't know. Corporate. I don't know. Corporate's the wrong word, but like much more like. Just not
already was corporate, right?
I know. I'm using that as like kind of like a generic term, but like just like controlled, controlled and not really raw or free. Like you don't know what you're getting. You don't know what what you're even able to see. I mean, they can decide if they want to block certain things or not show you certain things. You get certain suggestions, and it'd be cool if there was some more bare bones. But
I found one the other day, which I don't know if you guys are old enough, as old as me, but to remember Yahoo GeoCities, which used to be really fun, right? I mean, that's really old school. But there's a new one. There's one called NeoCities now, and it's like totally open source, and it's just HTML based. So you need to remember how to code, which I think most of us have forgotten because all our brains have been destroyed by Facebook and whatnot, Instagram or whatever. So we've all forgotten that, even back in the MySpace days, you used to have to code HTML to make your page look cool and everything. And NeoCities seems, I'm not working for them or anything, but NeoCities seems to be trying to go back to that kind of style. So it's really basic, just HTML, just images. There's only a certain list of files that you can upload, like MP3 and JPEG and things like that, and really primitive. But I started building a site on it just to kind of remember my skills the other day, and that kind of thing could work because anyone can have one of those pages and just share the link with each other or something like that. I don't know.
What are the file size limits like?
It's really small, yeah. It's like 1G. So yeah.
Gotcha.
So, but you could just open a lot of them, make a lot of different accounts or something. I think that's the catch. Like you pay to get a bigger account.
Yeah,
but there's no ads or anything.
Dropbox, I think it's free up to like 2 gigs or something per user.
Well, what's Google Drive? Like, isn't it like 25? Like,
it's 15.
Yeah, 15.
Moment, yeah.
It's only 15. There was more. All right.
I think it used to be more.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I had to pay recently to up my. It was like,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
I have all these accounts on. Sorry if I'm talking too much, but I have all these accounts. Like there's this web provider called free.fr, free.fr, and I've never had an account with them. I've never paid for a router from them. I've never had an internet account, phone, neither a phone. And for some reason, their process is automated, and it's like super old process that is obviously run by some kind of robot, computer thing. So I've got like hundreds of gigabytes of space on their servers, since like fucking 20 years, or 15 years or something. So I got like Mickey Mouse at free.fr, I've got Donald Duck, I've got like just any names that I could think of that weren't taken already. So I have all this web space. So maybe if you want, Oscar, if you need some space, I can give you that. I can give you some accounts. If you need.
Someone else has got to organize that. I don't know how to do that kind of stuff, but it'd be cool if someone spearhead that.
Be fucking amazing, actually.
What?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Hello, Kaspar.
I can set up a Dropbox account for all of us if you guys want, because I have this like 2 terabyte something storage on it, so I can dedicate like 1 tera or like 500 gigs, whatever.
Yeah, there's like different tiers. I think I pay like $10 a month or something for like what you're saying, like 2 terabytes or something. It's like never gonna use all.
it's an insane amount. So I have plenty of free space there, so I can just set it up now and send you like the link to join, or if you send me your email, I can send you invites. That's it.
That'd be cool. How do you guys feel about file sharing in this day and age? Like, what are your opinions on that? There's, or YouTube rippers, people who do that.
I like it better than getting digital files off of like a Bandcamp or anything like that.
What about what about when it's like ripping someone else's material and like sharing it on the internet?
I personally like YouTube for tape rips, because I kind of feel that YouTube is kind of this like digital museum in some way of media, and somehow seeing it represented that way with like, the scan of the J card and, obviously the authenticity of the cassette sound. I mean, I think it's fantastic. I am really not much of a fan of Bandcamp, even though I do use it. But for me personally, I think it's cool. I think it's chill.
Yeah, it's a good point actually, because I just recently like checked all my tapes, and I didn't found like, I made like some gore noise back in the days, like in the 2010ish, and I didn't find the tape, the master tape. So, but I found it on YouTube.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So I just reached out, and like now I have the master files again. So that's amazing.
I'm a big proponent of like file sharing blogs and like utilizing discretion. Like, I don't think you should be posting up rips of CDs that came out 6 months prior. But some of these old tape blogs were integral to like just me discovering shit that I never would have known existed, and probably still wouldn't know exists to this day.
Yo, did you fuck with Sickness Abounds too? We were just talking about that.
Which one's that?
The Sickness Abounds blog?
Is that the one where it's a frame from Altered States? Like a specific... Like, I think I now know what you're talking about, Mac. I think I now remember that blog spot.
Yeah, it's the scene from that movie you were talking about with like, he's like the priest with the hands out in the fire. at the very top. Yeah, Sickness Abounds.
Yeah, that was a big one with a lot of harsh noise and power electronics. I remember. Also, we also just realized that the one that Jackson from Commuter and
Son of Cult, right?
Son of Cult, that's still up, and there's a ton of cool shit on there.
Son of Cults. I don't think I've browsed that
SVNN
one.
or something like that. I don't know.
Oh,
someone can put the link in the chat. Or
Yo, respect to Jackson too. One time for getting his fucking album mentioned in Spin's Best of 2023.
That's super crazy. Why did that happen?
It's incredible.
And
like, I mean, I think it's great for him, but it's still very, very random. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't deserve it, but it's like very random that they would pick that one harsh noise album and put it in a fucking Spin magazine. Do they cover that kind of music? I haven't looked at Spin in like 20 years.
I was gonna say, who released it? Was it New Forces? Okay. See, I know that Stefan has had some of his stuff reviewed in The Wire before,
right?
So it would lead me to believe that it's part of that connection somehow.
Right.
Well, it was Raymond Cummings that wrote about it, right?
Raymond Cummings.
Yeah, he's a true like harsh head. I've been in contact with that dude since like before my noise days. That dude will go out of his way to hype up anything that he's stoked on, regardless of whether it's going to garner him any fucking hype, right? Like
I think it's a great move.
Oh, absolutely. He's a good human being.
Fuck yeah.
It'll be interesting to see to ask him in maybe the next month or so, like what were the effects of that, or New Forces, if they experienced anything, positive or negative sales or attention or whatever.
Yeah, that'll be sick.
So a bit like the new Taylor Swift album that got mixed up with an industrial compilation. Hear about it?
No.
Apparently, I don't know if it was someone in the pressing plant doing it deliberately, or if it's a kind of because there was that Taylor Swift MP3 that was just the harsh noise. Well, it was just like white noise. I don't know if she's trying to get some attention from doing it, or if it was a genuine mix-up. But it's like some compilation of like stuff like Cabaret Voltaire and Front 242 and like old industrial stuff, and it got swapped for a Taylor Swift album. So a lot of people downloaded it and they were like, "What the fuck?" And
yeah, it's got like Cabaret Voltaire on it or something.
Yeah, Cabaret Voltaire and Front 242. I think even Throbbing Gristle and things like that, and or Chris and Cozy maybe, and so there's like, but it's on vinyl as well. So I guess there's like 100,000 copies of that fucking thing out there.
Yeah, someone just put the wrong stamper in.
Yeah.
What happened
a few years as easy as that.
A few years back with Beyonce as well, there was a punk band from Ottawa that the A side of the Beyonce record was just their record.
Oh, cool.
And a bunch of Beyonce fans freaked out.
Yeah.
It'd be a brilliant like guerrilla marketing technique.
Well, it's a bit like Victoria Shen, Eviction.
Yeah.
There was that nails thing that Beyonce off as well, right? So there's old news. Yeah, I don't know if it does sound kind of deliberate. It does sound like a guerrilla marketing.
Well, you guys were talking about noise breaking into the mainstream. That might be our end.
Because there were comments on the when people downloaded the what was it, Taylor Swift thing. Some people were like, "Oh my god, this is fucking scary," but other people were saying, "Wow, this is really cool actually." So it looks like people are actually hearing that wouldn't have heard it otherwise.
I think that's like, speaking of like Taylor Swift and noise, something happened before where like her album got uploaded on streaming platforms like a day early, and all the files were just white noise. Like it was just a bad rip.
Yeah.
I'm still really, I mean, it kind of goes back to the mixed bill thing. Like, I'm still really curious about, I like to think, like we just need to expose people to noise. And then like a bunch of people will be like, wow, this is awesome. But I still think it's like, it doesn't work that way.
I think you do. You just got to curate it right.
Yeah,
really-
yeah. I think so. I think so too. But I mean, like, I think like some random like Taylor Swift fans hearing some like industrial record or some noise record, it's like doesn't achieve anything.
No,
or the Beyonce Nails thing or whatever. It's just like
no.
But it's like scaring your parents. It's like putting a noise record in a fucking easy listening cover or something, and then they put it on and they get it's just that works, but,
right?
It almost seems that if we're trying to like figure out a way to like bring noise to more people, it's always maybe the concept of like a person who's producing music that might be somewhat pop, but some of the tracks that person has on that album is like noise music. Like the only example I could give was was John Zorn's Naked City, like that first release a long time ago, where in the middle of the album you have just all this crazy shit happening, and that was my gateway as a teenager. There's that.
I think it has. I think it has to go the curator, like the hearts and minds route. I don't think like the freaking the squares out road like really does anything except maybe just drive people away.
People surprise me though sometimes. My girlfriend just was talking to her mom, and her mom was asking about what's Mike been up to lately, and I just put out that Spallmaker thing up on Bandcamp, and she was like, yeah, she told her about it, and her mom was like, well, I'd love to hear it sometime, and she was like, I don't know if you're gonna wanna, but she sent it to her, and my girlfriend was just telling me about it, and it's funny. I feel like people maybe sometimes need a little bit more credit. They find ways to relate it to something they know, and and she said something about comparing it to the like Pink Floyd, the beginning of Money and the beginning of On the Run, some of those tracks on that album with those like weird, the footsteps and the field recording noises and the just weird kind of ambient things. And she was like comparing it to that, which was the last fucking thing I ever thought anybody would even, I don't know. And she was like, yeah, I mean, maybe it's not for me, but I she found some way to appreciate it in some, I don't know, regard. I don't know.
What about the other way round, where people like in the noise scene and they're just doing it for like noise fans, do something really unexpected just to piss people off,
like a pop album?
Yeah, just like, okay, this is the new Hannah Tarash record, but it's like or whatever, or Incapacitants suddenly doing disco or something like that. What do you think about that? I mean, if it goes the other way, the opposite way.
Well, it seems like the thing that we're missing is an ingredient of a singing voice, right? Like if, say, for example, like I'm a vocalist. I don't sing that much anymore, sadly. I wish I did. But what if I just sang really beautifully on top of fucked up noise?
Yeah, we're talking about that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I'm always a little bit suspicious of that route. I don't know if suspicious, but I mean, like, then it kind of just seems that then I'm kind of oftentimes okay. Then to me, noise was maybe more of a like tool to be extreme or like weird, and then
it's just an emotional element. It's not being like, oh, I'm going to sing on this noise track so I can get a lot of followers and get a hit record or something. It's just like I'm hearing these clusters and densities of pitches, and I could hear a melody go on top of it that's very interesting and strange.
No, I think that's very
okay.
I think that's awesome. I wasn't speaking to what you're talking about, like the tendency for like the early industrial artists to then like go to like dance pop like after their first like albums, like I don't know if it might have been in the interview that was lost with Sam McKinley. It might have been the one that we did, because I did a whole interview with him that was lost, but he said something about like, we talked about the keep industrial out of harsh noise thing. He's like, his thing is like, he thought like, he feels like those early industrial records were like a lot of artists' way to like convince people that they were crazy and then they could just do what they really want to do, was just like make like pop music for, like, and I don't know. I
think it was an attention grab, and then
like an attention grab, like it's more
like show they have some edge or something, and then okay,
shock factor.
Well, it's like luring. Yeah, it's totally stalking. It's like luring people under false pretenses, making them feel comfortable, and then going, you know. So.
I think there's also an element of acquiring better gear over time, just having access to, like, maybe they always wanted access to high-tech drum machines and shit like that, but didn't, so they made what they could up until.
That's true. I feel like, that's true. I feel like, like early SPK could have been like a result of them just like plugging some shit in and like going nuts and being like, this is fucking crazy. This is cool. Like, let's actually go with this. It's really fucked up. And then like later on being like, oh, let's make it a lot cleaner and like more precise and more musical and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say, I feel like I've gone this route pretty much. I started out all aggressive and doing distorted shit. And now it's honestly, I'm at that. I prefer it clean digital with some analog filters to disguise it all. When people tell me, oh, I hear it's digital, it's like, well, you don't hear the analog filter now, do you? So
well, I mean, I don't even know if there's a really motive, besides like maybe you just like, you start off doing noise, and I mean, all of us listen to, being into noise, you're obviously into a whole spectrum of shit, you know what I mean? It's like if someone wants to make a pop record, I really wouldn't be surprised, because I know that probably mostly everyone here doesn't listen to harsh noise 100% of the time.
Yeah.
It's like you have other interests, and or you're like start off with harsh noise and you're learning an instrument, and all of a sudden you're competent enough to pull off something musical, and that's what you do. I don't know if it's
don't forget all the other kind of acts like Violent Onsen Geisha, hairstylistic. He's always been very kind of contrary to the noise scene. He's always making jokes about the noise scene, even though he's doing noise, So he puts
your mom on Mother's Day.
Exactly right. Yeah. Rest in peace. Messiah's really sick as well. He's like handicapped.
What sort of irks me sometimes is just that when people are like go that route and then they're kind of like have this attitude like, oh, finally I can make something like good, like I was just like finally I'm able to apply proper production values and like structure and make something that is popular and people like, and it's like, well, wasn't the stuff that you did earlier, like weren't you doing that for a reason, or was it just because you like couldn't do more musical stuff? I don't know.
Well, that's the artist dilemma. The artist dilemma is, do you make music for yourself or do you make it for other people? Do you make art for yourself or do you make it for other people? The moment you step outside your door into the society, into the greater public, they are the ones who kind of control the situation, not the artist. So the moment you give that up, that's the devil's deal. Then it's not yours anymore. And the thing is that like, I was really interested in what the culture jammers were doing back in the late 80s into the 90s, even bands like Negative Land, that they were taking pop culture and rerouting it back into pop, back into society. It's one thing to play. Yeah. And it's one thing to play to a room. Yeah. And it's one thing to play to a room of your peers, but it's another thing to play to a room of total strangers who don't know what to expect. So that's the deal. That's like the sort of artist dilemma. Do you do it for yourself or do you do it for society, for the public? And you got to make that sort of decision. You can balance it. You can try. That's the experiment. If we want to talk about experimenting, you got to experiment with the macro, the larger society out there. That's why I sort of like going back to Gazaza and all of those guys. They were pranksters. They attacked society out there. They did even like SRL, they put the big posters up on the walls and everything. Like they scared society. And there's a lot of like withdraw from that now, because society right now, with everything going on, especially in America, is dangerous to play around with society, because they don't have the same sensibilities. They don't have the same sense of humor that we might have. So you go out there and you put a big poster up of a dead whale that says, Free Willy, you might get a bullet in your head, because those days of joking around with people are over. That's what I think.
That with some recent experience with space out where I live, that is very much true. I won't really get into details out of respect of the artist and two other people I know, but there was some internal drama because a particular someone wore a shirt of a sketchy band to the point where all the volunteers of the space threatened to smear the thing they were involved in as being like a hateful, bigoted spot, even though this artist in question played with queer, people of color, etc., etc.
I think.
And,
I forgot this is being recorded. I was going to say I think you're safe to say it to talk about it here, but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Never mind, Henry.
Let's not.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. But things have just gotten pretty bad with society. Maybe that's why Skinner was talking about the antisocial grit to begin with.
Exactly.
Maybe we not bring that back.
It's part of it. And to be fair, I'm not defending what happened, but when you wear a sketchy black metal shirt, you're wearing it for a reason. You're wearing it to not necessarily because you believe in it, but you're wearing it to make some sort of statement or get something out of people. So if people react, you gotta be expecting that people are going to react.
Society is a lot different now. Like you sent me a white centipede shirt, but I barely wear it outside because it says white on it. And that's a problem, because someone might step to you and say, what's that about? And then I got to explain it. And I'm like, okay, it's not about white anything. It's about a noise project. It's about a noise label and everything. I don't want to get into all of that. But if you wear something like that, and I do wear your shirt, and the thing is that like people don't have the same sensibilities anymore. Maybe they never did, but there was a point when you can take your stuff and bring it out to the public and kind of freak them out a little bit and have a little fun with it. But now the fun's over. And I don't want to bring in the whole political society thing in America, but it's not the same fun place it used to be. Not for me. This is an insular group. I know the people. I like the people. Everyone knows to expect around here. But the moment you take it out the door, it's, especially in America in this day and age, things can go really wrong, really bad. So, that's part of the reason why pop music, it seems to be, it's the greatest of all evils, because it thrives on capitalism. It thrives on consumers. And if people are bored and they just want to be entertained, then, there's just this capitalism in itself globally just pumps out anything to create some sort of income, some sort of gains from that. It could be anything. I mean, look at the movies that are coming out, right? Like most of them are CGI now. There's a lot of there's a big problem in Hollywood because they say the writers are not getting enough pay and they're using AI now to maybe write scripts. So, I mean, did I ever watch that TV anyway? So I really don't care if that stuff goes down. In fact, that greater society should fucking hit the fucking dirt soon, because it's part of the problem, a bigger problem. I think we are like journalists. We are like reporters looking at things in the world and saying, wow, look at all this stuff. This is really fucked up. But you got to be careful, because if you go too far, then you become the problem. You're not the problem solver. You're the problem maker.
Right.
Believe me, I know.
Yeah.
Mood. Big
Love
mood.
you, Eddie.
Giles, you
Word up, Eddie.
need to open a fucking YouTube channel, dude.
Yeah.
You got a million fucking followers, man.
I'm a scared old man.
Yeah. That'd be the channel. Scared old man.
Old man, yeah.
Right there. Million followers.
Hey, how are you?
Scared old fucking man.
Good.
All right.
I think sometimes it does depend on like what exactly you're bringing to the public. Because I've played like mixed genre bills where like people don't have any context for what I'm gonna do. I don't talk before I play most of the time. I just set up and go. And if you just like set up and go and perform and sell it, I guess, for lack of a better word. Sometimes you clear the room. Sometimes people have something nice to say about how they've never seen anything like that before. And like maybe they're not going to seek it out, but sometimes those people come back. You never know.
The greatest thing is to be inspirational. If you can play in front of 100 people and they hate it, but the one person goes out and says that's great and gets gear and starts, then I feel like mission completed. Really, I don't really care about the rest of it. To inspire those to get away from the norms, the socialized norms. I was not socialized correctly, so in a way, I'm a bad person because I don't know how to function properly in society. If I did, I'd be much more successful. There's others that have great access, social, and they have social and cultural capital. So they have people they know, and they have, pathways to get better, results from what they're doing. There's people even in noise scene that get better gigs than others. That doesn't mean the noise is better. It just means they have better access. They have pathways and they have networks that take care of that. Okay. If you go pop, like what these early bands, I guess PK and whatnot, that's their choice musically. In fact, I would think that Graham Revell, he did soundtracks. So basically he had a musical background. You don't start doing soundtracks in Hollywood, off a harsh noise tape, and now suddenly you're making soundtracks. He's done at least 30, 40 soundtracks, if not more, So it's, like a guy like that. But then like there's other people, and like, then there's other people that are very, very interesting that sort of, I hate to say it, they wallow in the sub underground for years and years, and they never get the respect that they should, So it's one of those things. But the moment you start putting your stuff out there, okay, you have to understand that a lot of times you lose power over it because greater consumption, like LA is a giant market for entertainment. If you start dealing with the big boys with the money and the power, guess what? Your shit's grabbed, taken that way, and it's not yours anymore. It's not yours. They'll take it. I can't wait till like influencers start tapping us and saying, yo, this is the real shit, and start doing what we do. And we're sitting there holding our balls saying, what the fuck happened? That's going to be a fucking problem.
Eddie, to that though, I will say this, so Sam, my other half, in Terracell unit, he's been fostering a good relationship with this gentleman who does a big booking agency in Northern California called the Hard Times. They also do all those jokey stuff too, which by the way, page. Yeah, but also too, just so that all y'all know, the person who does the writing on all the noise satire jokes is Peter J. Woods.
Okay.
He's the guy who does all that. So yeah, so exactly. So it's one of us. The point that I'm getting at though is that
that's like the perfect Peter job.
Yes, no, it is. It is. It really is. But
a fucking doctor of noise.
Fucking going back to it all. Sam's been fostering this relationship with Nick, and Nick is legitimately sees the potential in noise, in experimental music like this. And he's actually backing Sam and I. I mentioned, I think in the last meetup or the one before that about how we're bringing Andy from the Vomit Arsonist out for a weekend thing. And the Hard Times is going to be backing and promoting both the shows.
That's great.
And they're all, actually neither of those shows are mixed bills.
Wow.
Neither of them are mixed bills, and the Hard Times is backing it completely.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. And
Well,
we're trying
to
we're trying to keep it growing. We're hoping next year that there's going to be a fest. Potentially Iron Lung. We'll see though. Jensen gave us flowers when we played with him in Tempe on that last tour. He's very hyped on it. So we're just gonna keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. I mean, Nick's not asking us to do anything like bring in a noise artist that's easier to digest or any of that shit. He's giving Sam and I free reign, pretty much. He trusts us. So
nobody should compromise whatever it is they have to do in order to get paid.
What's up?
Nobody should ever compromise what they have to do in order to get paid. That's
agreed.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
You should
agreed.
At the very least, you should try to at least fuck with people who are gonna make sure that you get what you're.
It's dehumanizing. Yeah, it's dehumanizing.
It is.
Yo, Mac, what was the reception like on this recent tour?
Very
I know
good.
You hit it. Yeah, because I had spoken to my buddy Preston in Denver, and he showed me a bunch of the videos and what have you. And I asked him what the scene was like and how, or whether or not people stuck around. And he was actually very surprised by the amount of folks that stayed and seemed to be really into it. So I was just curious about whether or not that was the case in most of the other cities you played.
I would say in about 75-80% of the shows that we played at, Sam and I played to full rooms, pretty much. Denver was, and what was funny too is that we get finished playing the Denver set and someone comes up and goes, you know, it's crazy. Most of the Denver noise scene wasn't even here for this. And I'm like, at this point, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, absolutely.
Frankly, it's like, it's on some like big, like whatever shit, you know, because you had a whole room of people who've never listened to this type of stuff before, don't listen to it, and they were hyped on it. They're mad hyped on it. That was another great show night. Sold a bunch of merch, all that stuff. So,
hell yeah.
Shit rules.
How was it in Vegas? How was it in Vegas, Mac?
Oh, Vegas, though. Vegas.
I was gonna try to hit that up, but some stuff came up.
No, and just
yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah, see, you already know because Vegas overall is weird. Vegas hasn't had an underground music scene since I want to say maybe like mid 2000s, and it was Tough Guy Hardcore, a band called Folsom. They were all LVH or whatever. That was it. That is the only underground music scene that did exist. And I don't even think it's really that type of shit's not really there anymore either. And so, I mean, and this was the same thing when I played with Noel. We ended up in some fucking backyard. It sucked. Yeah, both me and Noel were not pumped on that at all. Especially, I mean, it's like I can handle a lot. But when you don't have enough space for touring acts to put merch out, that's when I get fucking annoyed. And I'm on some like, what the fuck are we doing here? But also too, I get it. I'm playing it at a different level than others. Some people wouldn't mind that so much, but that's because they want to play it at a certain level. And I can respect that. And that's totally fine. But the Vegas show, no one showed up. The guy that booked actually your show, Nico, and
he booked it. He booked Vegas.
Yeah, he didn't even show up to either or. And I heard
he
fucked up the night before. Yeah, you already know he fucked up the night before, and then Vegas he didn't even bother to show up, and no one really came.
He fucked up here
in LA, yeah, because World Peace had to end up using the back line the whole time.
Yeah,
and they were not notified about that or given warning. Let alone the person telling Giallo that everything will be here for you, and then they're like forced to scramble to have to talk to the other bands to use stuff.
Yeah. I was in the middle of all that too. I hear you.
Yeah. You remember it. So
no worries. I'll talk to you about it sometime off this if you want.
But Vegas, I know it's whatever. I mean, like anyone from the punk scene is really going to be listening to this shit. So and if they have, they can bring it to me. It's all good.
No. I know he's in Vegas. I mean, he stays in Vegas, and he didn't go to the Vegas show. I was like, really? Like. He's like, he told me, I set it up. I said, well, why not? He's like, I'm going to stay here in town because he's from here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to stay home and visit family with us. Whatever, man. You know, it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, you know, it was fun. I got to go to the strip for the first time. That was kind of cool. Never been out to the strip. Never had a Twisted Tea walking around the strip. It was a good time, you know, but that and the White Castle. That ruled. Got that White Castle for the first time on this tour. That shit ruled. Yeah.
What was the Twisted Tea flavor? What was the Twisted Tea flavor, Mark?
was the I don't remember. It's the blue one, I guess. The blue lettering.
That's the original. I think that's the original.
Yeah, the original, the one that fool smacked the other guy with. Yeah, if I remember, that's the one. I was like, hell yeah, that's the one I want. So it was pretty good. Not bad. Not bad.
CB, you played the other night, right?
What's up?
CB.
CB.
Down there, muttering.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I just played last night.
How'd that go?
Dude, how was it? Sorry, I haven't worked on the thing with you. I'm a snail. I'm gonna make my tape about snails soon.
That's okay. That's okay. You take your time. It's all right. Last night was really cool. The show was great. Human Fluid Rot really killed it. What happened? There was like a massive dog pile on him, and that was fun. I don't know. It was just a great show. Great show, everybody. It was actually like what Mac was saying. I didn't like some of the Denver noise people were there, and some of the Colorado noise people were there, or like the Colorado Springs noise people. But for the most part, it was just like random kind of punk people that showed up, and so that was kind of weird, but it was a good turnout, so it was cool.
Nice. And how did you feel about your set? Have you played out much?
This was my second time playing out. Yeah. So the set, I thought it went pretty well, but I use an Alesis microverb, so it runs off a different like power chain than my pedals, and the fucking cord kept going out during the set, so it would kind of cut in, cut out, cut in, cut out. But other than that, I thought it went well.
Yeah, cool. I was excited to see that you
Congrats.
were added on
Thanks,
there. Your last minute. Cool.
Keep going.
That was pretty cool.
That sounds like an advantage that it cut in and cut out to me. But
yeah, it kind of, somebody took a video, and looking back, it kind of added a little bit of like sporadicism to it, so wasn't too bad.
Yeah, the one genre where that kind of works out.
Yeah, right.
In your favor, yeah.
I do that intentionally.
it's actually really hard to do that intentionally if you really want it.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Pete, how's family life?
Me?
If I might ask. I know it's personal, but
it's been good, man. A little taxing, but a very enriching experience.
Nice. You got to go back to work soon?
So I got 12 weeks of paternity leave, and I chose to divvy it up, like 1 month off, 1 month on, one off.
Yeah, cool.
So I've got about another week and a half, and I go back to work.
Nice. Cool. Any you went on a pretty big run of like shows before that happened, right? You were in Finland, and then or in Europe, and then the baby came, right? And so like are you foreseeing being able to, because you like to play out a lot. I mean, you seem like you really do that pretty heavily. Are you
Actually, I don't really play out too often. Like I've only played a couple shows the whole summer, maybe one show, which has been fine because of the baby. But
do you see yourself being able to do that in the future, like soon, or is that?
Well, I was invited to play. So there's a gentleman organizing a sort of like nuclear war now hospital show type of deal in Bangkok.
Right.
That I'm gonna try to swing because that would be sick. I've always wanted to go to Thailand.
Is that the same as connected with the Osaka one, the Japan one?
it's not, but it's in spirit of basically everybody that's going there is going to be going to that fest.
Cool.
Afterwards, it's the weekend before it.
I saw it look cool. Live looks sick.
But yeah, I'm actually already planning another tour in Finland because next year my fiance is Finnish and her grandmother turns 100. And so there's a new kind of like small group of guys doing some shows in Turku at like a private event, public shows, but like it's not like a public club, it's a private venue. They've been doing like the recent shows, like that grunt gig with Young Hustlers, and they've got some other stuff lined up. I think the last Bizarre Uproar show. But they invited me to play in Turku. My gig in Turku, me and Will were supposed to play, got canceled. So I was like, yeah, of course I'd love to play. And so I think it just happens to fall around the same time as her grandmother's birthday. So if I can make it happen, I might just try to do like another little short tour of Tampere, Turku, Oulu, and Helsinki.
Nice.
To interject, I really liked your side of the split with Vincent Dallas more than Vincent's stuff.
Thanks, man.
I actually would love to hear more. I don't think I've heard much Pain Appendix actually, but I'd like to hear more of it.
Yeah.
What's a good one to start with in your discography, or like what's a recent release you'd recommend me to pick up?
Manuel just released a 4-way split called the Transatlantic Deathmatch.
That's been in the works for like many years, hasn't it?
Yeah, a couple of years. Yeah, I think maybe 3 years, maybe. But yeah, so basically it's 2 Finnish projects and 2 American projects, and it's a pretty short tape too. So it's nice, short, sweet. Comes with a cool zine that man did. I'd suggest picking that up. It's brand new.
It has Legless on it, right?
Yeah, yep.
I have quite a few Legless tapes, and that's one project I'll never let go of anything of.
Yeah, the Legless material on that split is cool, man. It's really hypnotic. It's kind of like later era macro style, just like tape loop, fucking like whacked out noise. And it was cut from the shit that he submitted for the. Actually, it was supposed to be the guy Dan from Primordial Wound did a compilation. He gathered it all, and then who released it? The Lacerations, some other label released it. You released
it.
Oh, shit. Yes, so that is actually some of the material from that track that was supposed to be on that comp.
I remember that. That was, yeah. That's there's a funny story behind that.
Yeah.
but yeah, I inherited that compilation and then kind of had to restructure it a little bit. But yeah, I'll say that for off air.
I have it sitting next to me. I got to listen to that again soon.
Killer.
It's good. It's good. A lot of good material in there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a shame that Dan dropped out of Noise because he was really on something, man. He tapped into it big time.
Yeah, totally. And it was very sudden.
In a while. Like, wait, he's done with Noise for good? How could no one told me that?
Not Danny.
Dan, who did Primordial Wounds, the man who was originally released that comp.
Yeah, I actually did a trade with him once, and then he just went poof.
Yeah, I think he just got tired of it. I mean, that's probably the same thing that everyone's felt once or twice or a million times. But for him, I think it just like he couldn't bounce back. He was like, "Fuck this shit, done." I'm sure he's still. I mean, he's a musician, so I'm sure he's still being creative and making noise in his own way. But
he played in some death metal bands, right?
Bunch of black metal and death metal bands. Yeah.
What bands?
Oh man, a shitload of bands. Predatory Light. He was playing bass and bass before. He played live with Blasphemy for a while. Fucking Old Skin Masters. His Majesty's Hammer. Just like a fucking long list.
Peter, where is Dan located? I feel like I used to talk with this fool at some point. Was he in Minneapolis?
Back then, but now he's in Portland.
Okay, all right. I feel I crossed paths with him then because I was.
He was in Minneapolis.
Huh?
You say he was in Minneapolis?
Danny Proper, Legless, was in Minneapolis.
We're talking about
Primordial Wound. Pardon me. Pardon me.
Primordial Wound guy. Originally in Seattle. He's actually an East Coast dude. Back in the day, man, he was like, I've known him. The first time I met him, I hopped in the van while he was touring with his old band was fucking and Hedonist. They were touring with Hooded Menace in like 06, 07.
Dude, I remember Hedonist. I saw them once. That was incredible. Yeah.
Killer band. But that's when I first met him. He was a DC guy, and he grew up like when he was a teenager, he booked shows for Creationist Crucifixion and shit, man.
Fuck
like,
yeah.
I love
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, Creationist Crucifixion. They used to be a really active noise thing in Pittsburgh going on related to those guys like 15 years.
Yeah, no. Dude, the Human Kino Orchestra, dude. I've seen that
shit. The Cyborg Handbook, man.
Dude, incredible, right, John?
Oh,
yeah. Everyone that knows. Yeah. Legendary.
Yeah, Dan has always been tapped in. He's always had his finger to the fucking pulse. He's always been, the dude. I think he just got sick of like the noise scene stuff. And I know he really got like spooked about just not sketchy stuff like political things, but just more like the wacky, like Nicole 12 type shit. He's just like, man, I don't fucking anything to do with this weird shit.
Isn't one of the dudes that was in Creationist Crucifixion playing drums for Decada now as well?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, Creationist Crucifixions. I think most if not all the members don't even live in the Pittsburgh area now. They've all moved out.
I haven't heard anything about any like new type of update about that band in 20 years. I don't know.
Didn't they do like a reunion somewhat recently?
They did a reunion.
Past year or so.
They at least did a reunion like set like now it's probably like 10 years ago maybe.
I know they did something somewhat kind of recently, but like that's fairly recent considering.
Man, it is sad, but there was like one guy in Greensburg who was like associated with Creation and Crucifixion and Bastard Noise, but he hasn't been with us since 2009 in the sense that he passed away of cancer, which is fucking sad. I forgot the guy's fucking name, but he was in he had a collaboration with Eric Wood and it was called like A10
That's Tentacle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember that guy's name too now, actually.
I don't know. Beats me.
Yeah.
Oh, Rick something. Rick G something.
Rick Gibbonez. He lived near me and I at one point, but I was like, this was before I was even into or involved with like local noise activity. So would have been nice to see him in person, but I don't know. I don't think I've actually heard his solo stuff. I think he might have done some releases, but it wasn't really harsh noise. It's more like experimental or improv sound art stuff.
That sounds cool.
Dang, man. I'm going to do a after blast with Engman this coming week and talk about what he's been up to and like talk about custodianship, but I'm not a huge metal like aficionado. Like I don't have the knowledge of that shit, but Engman's been involved in some fucking crazy metal shit. So if you guys have any questions that you want to like steer the conversation and get some good information out of this guy, because there's some.
Dude, so is all the Brodequins drumming is all programmed?
No, so I joined that band. They already had 2 records out with their original drum, and then I played with them on 1 EP and 1 full length, and then bailed for various reasons. And then I didn't talk to those dudes for almost 10 years, I would say. Yeah, about 10 years, maybe even a little more. And I had my hip was all fucked up. Like for a while, I was like walking with a cane and shit. Like my hip was fucked for various reasons. But then I started, I was doing this project called Cathoga that was like, I pre-recorded, like, is just distorted bass. It's like pretty much like Godflesh worship, you know. But I saw this dude on YouTube called David Haynes. He's a jazz drummer, and he played drum kit, but then he also played like an MPC pad, like a drum set. And also I saw that dude, what is it, Arab music? He's like a kind of like live, I don't know what you'd call it, like drum and bass or whatever. Yeah, he played shit, like super fast shit on the MPC, and I was like, well, I can't really play drums, but I know I can fucking pull this off. So I started playing around with that, and I was playing like live finger drums to these bass loops, and that was that Cathoga, like Godflesh influence project. And then through just circumstances, I ended up talking to the Brodekin guys again, and I was like, hey, check this shit out. And I showed them that I could like play Brodekin songs with my like hands on this pad, and they're like, yeah, man, we should do something. And I was like, you know, not to shit on metal guys, but they're like,
yeah,
really, they, you know, for a band to be cool with playing live with a dude playing an MPC pad instead of like a big, here's my double bass, cool looking kit, you know what I mean? I was like, you guys are really cool with this? Yeah, let's do some shit. And I was like, yeah, sure. So that's when I did that short stint, just playing the MPC live on stage and it wasn't programmed, and it was no, all the pads were single hits. There was no like hit the kick drum pad and it just goes into a roll. Like I figured out a way to like, I was almost playing like chords, you know, it's like with one hand I was hitting, you know, ride, snare, kick, you know, and just alternating for blasts. And you know,
there's crazy videos of it. There's crazy videos of it online of him on stage at these like festivals, like with Brodequin, like just fucking shredding this little thing, and they're like right and left.
Wow.
Yeah, John, I always thought that shit was impressive. I always thought that shit was super impressive and lame. That metalheads just like, ugh. And it's like, dude, like, what the fuck you mean? Like, it's on some like, I want to talk to the metalhead and be like, what? You're gonna get up there and go do that? Like, you're gonna get up there and go do that? Like, fuck out of here.
Yeah, as like a drummer, it's like trying to figure that shit out. I would just be more satisfied, and honestly, I think playing it on the drums would probably be easier, in my opinion, than having to like figure out a way to have to, you know, maneuver your fingers on the pad, because that shit's hard. I have an MPC. I tried, and I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to stick to playing drums.
Yeah, it took a lot of time to develop like the like a layout that made sense to be able to play the shit that I needed to play. So I basically had, you know, you got 16 pads. So I had it mirrored, you know, I had like 2 chinas, 2 hats, 2 snares, 2 kicks, 2 floor toms, 2 rides, 2 crashes, and 2 other chinas. So I had to like, because there's a lot of shit where it's like, you know, you're playing a certain type of beat, and obviously you're not going to be able to play a fucking ride pattern or a hi-hat pattern at, you know, 320 beats per minute with one finger on the ride. Just so I would have to do like this alternating, and I used like a lot of you know, like kind of rudimental type of stuff, you know, paradiddles, you know, double stroke roll type of techniques to be able to like piece together like an accurate sounding drum beat and be able to handle the speed as well. So a lot of it was like I just had to like fucking make it up as I went. But yeah, it's weird, like Mac, what you were talking about, like people, shitting on it. It was weird because it was always the people that were like the real, like studious type of people,
the purists.
Like for example, like Lilla, the drummer from Defeated Sanity, if you know that band.
Dude, I know, I saw them.
For sure,
the most like ridiculous drummer like probably ever in death metal, in my opinion. He's like, this is just incredible. Or like Travis from Cattle Decapitation, we played Hellfest. Brodekin got on Hellfest somehow. It's like, here's Brodekin under Black Sabbath, the fucking flyer. It's like, we don't belong here. But yeah, so like I met Travis there, and he's like, you're that finger drumming dude. And I hung out with Agoraphobic Nosebleed, and like Scott Hall is one of my like, that dude is just like, I look up to that shit, Agoraphobic, Pig Destroyer, all that stuff, all of his noise stuff, his production, and he was just like we sat around and drank fucking like near a whole bottle of Maker's Mark and just talked about drum machines. You know what I mean? So it's like the people that should get it, got it, but yeah, your regular, like, not to shit talk, but your regular just dude that's into devourment and doesn't play an instrument is like, that's, they just didn't get it. But all the like musicians, people that played, people that are into like different shit, they were all like, that's incredible. So it was really weird.
I was gonna say, John, in hip hop, what they call that, you're an artist's artist. There's another term too I read or heard it being described on the Hard Lore podcast, when you're a band's band.
You're a band's band.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like you
right.
Yeah.
In the art world, it's like a painter's painter. The same thing.
Yeah, same shit. Yeah.
So John, do you remember when you played with Phetopsy? Do you remember playing a festival in Germany once? Like, do you had like e-drums? I remember like seeing Phetopsy once, and they had like e-drums.
Yeah, I played that Death Feast open air.
Yeah, it was Death Feast, like 2004 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 2007.
Yeah, and it was actually the point, like you told, because like there are like metalheads around there. Oh, he's like playing on like e-drums. What a shitty stuff, Actually, that point you just mentioned it.
Yeah, I played on that gig. I played. I just had a snare, a crash, a hi-hat, and then instead of like I don't understand drummers that you trigger your kick and then you have a kick drum there. Like, why are you carrying that big stupid thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just played like
people
a little
who play
like,
guitar with dummy cabs.
Yeah.
It was fucking amazing. So I really enjoyed it. So
thank you.
I don't understand why you would get the hate for playing e-drums, because a lot of those drummers trigger their drums to death anyway. So they're, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. I don't understand if you're bringing, if you, like you said, if you're triggering, why are you bringing all these drums? It's like for the visual, or
is that really how is that really how it works?
Do you just like carrying shit? I guess. I mean, you know what I mean? Like minimize it.
So like the triggered kick is really just like a sample, electronic sample, right?
Yeah.
Are you triggering with a foot pedal, and
you play it just like a kick drum,
and people will bring like the full kick.
I've noticed a lot more drummers now are fine with using just the pad for the kick. I was doing that. I know Cody from Sanguisugabog, he's doing that now. Jordan Varela, who played with Lust of Decay, fucking fantastic drummer. He's actually one of the first drummers I saw do that. And then there was a guy in a band called Delusional Parasitosis.
Yes.
He started just playing like Roland kicks, like have the snare and the toms and all the acoustic like upper part of the kick, or a part of the kit, but it's like the advantage of that is now you can have a more efficient ergonomic setup, because now you can sink your toms lower because you don't have the big kick to mount everything on top of. Now you got your kit sits lower, everything's in closer proximity. You're not killing yourself reaching. Everything can just be like literally like flat in front of you, if you get rid of that kick drum. And I don't see why you wouldn't do that if you're going to trigger the kick anyway. Because most of these guys that are triggering kicks, they stuff the fucking thing full of pillows anyway to make the triggering more accurate. And it's like, I mean, maybe it's just for certain guys, it's a feel thing, just the way the actual, head hitting the drum feels. Cause, the kick trigger pads definitely feel, more buoyant, we'll call them.
Rubbery.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to beat the feel and the rebound of like a natural drum head.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of preference in that regard. So I mean, if it's like a feel preference, then sure. But in terms of sound, it's no different. You're still using the same sample that you have in your module or on your laptop or whatever it is that you're routing from.
I'm just thinking of the idea of bringing their dad to a metal concert, like a death metal concert like that, and having him be like, but where's the drums? Where's
the mics? Where's the mic?
Yeah. But the mics, okay, mics is like that. People don't think of that, but the symbol of the drums, you see this guy playing something and you're like, but where's the drums? People that don't get that. And I think instead of people trying to teach people what that is, people are just like, oh, we have to show them that it's drums. That's a big wooden circular thing.
Well, I think it's more of an issue with people who swear they get it. Who swear oh, well, there must be drums here or a kit here, so this shit is automatically trash or whatever. And that's for the people who, like John was saying, they don't even play an instrument. I mean, John, correct me, but I can imagine what we're doing it just out of pure necessity. It's like,
in terms of,
if your circumstance is different or whatever, what's the next thing I can pick up and still play? And it's like, I didn't have an acoustic kit for a long time. I just had an E kit, and I got so pissed off because I wanted the natural feel and everything. But looking back at some old recordings on the E kit, I could play it with all the pads being so close, and so together. I could play like I had 4 arms or whatever. So then get to the acoustic kit again after 10 years or however long it was. There's definitely okay, I'll pretty much play whatever I have in front of me, but I guess there is a hurdle that maybe it's more of a listener thing. If you see this fucking brutal death metal, black metal, whatever it is, you realize the dude's playing an MPC. Well, there's a hurdle that I can understand, right? For a second, but
there's definitely.
It's fucking ignorance, anyways. So,
well, and it's a lot of bullshit too, because you get these people that all the people that were talking shit about the drum pad. It's like, do you realize that all the shit that you listen to anyway is put into Pro Tools and chopped up and fixed, and it's like you're basically listening to a drum machine anyway when you're listening to a studio recording, because all these dudes size everything. They do sample replacements. I mean, I've heard so many fucking crazy stories, being in the within that world of oh yeah, well, for the I recorded the whole record. I tracked everything, but the kick sounded like shit, so I took all the kick drums out, and turned my kick on the side, and overdubbed all the kick drum work with my hands, and just cut it in. It's so for example, the way I had my MPC set up is I had to play that live. I couldn't, because of the way I had it set up through my apps and shit. nothing was individually tracked. You know, so I couldn't go back in and fix anything. So it's like I'm playing more live than you motherfuckers are. You know what I mean? Like there's no fixing any of this because it's not cut up into individual instrument tracks.
Yeah.
You know, where I can't go in.
It was like a stereo recording or something like that.
Yeah, it's left and right. Yeah.
That's hard. That's fucking hardcore, man. That's super hardcore.
Insane.
Well, and plus, I'm sure the mistakes or any mistakes would stand out even more. You know?
Yeah, it's like that with triggers too. When you get these people that still talk shit about triggering, it's like, oh, you don't even have to hit hard. It's like, since when is hitting hard a requirement of playing drumming?
Yeah.
There's no rule saying that if you play drums, you have to hit hard. It's like, that's just, if you're trying to be a speed drummer, you know, if you're trying to be a fast drummer, hitting hard is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to preserve your endurance, and it's about being consistent. It's like, if you want to sit there and smash your drums and be exhausted and have your tempo dip and be fine, you know.
It's that mentality, that drummer mentality, I feel like bleeds into a lot of other things in life, you know, that stripping down. I remember just like when I was drumming, thinking about that all the time, that it was like, you know, how small can I make my kit? How little do I have to, like, you know, and partly for other reasons too, to sometimes force more creativity out of myself. The less shit you have, the more you kind of have to think of how to like play the kit differently and stuff. But it bleeds into just like minimizing like every aspect of your life, you know, finding the fastest route to get from point A to point B. And like, you know, it's
about efficiency.
Totally. Yeah.
Hey,
as a drummer, I would
on
find
that-
myself like constantly scaling down my kit to just like fucking 2 or 3 pieces if I was just like getting bored or hitting like a rider's block with grooves and shit.
Yeah.
Totally scaling back is very helpful.
Yeah. And
has anyone ever seen Lightning Bolt live?
Not live, but I've watched their videos, and that shit is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just rips. And
Yep.
it just never lets up, you know. And going back to like classic drummers, I mean, I'm a little bit older, so I saw when I first saw DRI with Felix. I mean, that kid is so tight from DRI. If anyone is interested in that stuff, but then moving into the sort of like really super power, sort of like power drumming is like ridiculous. It really is an art, you know, if you watch it. But yeah, the Lightning Bolt stuff is the stuff that I saw. I'm like, wow, all that on just very simple trap kit. Which is ridiculous.
Right.
I've never listened to Lightning Bolt once in my life.
Why not,
What's a
Henry?
good album? I don't know, man. I see them get mentioned, but I've never fucking checked them out. What's a good album?
There's a really good video of them playing live. I think it's somewhere in maybe Asia somewhere, and there's like just a mad bunch of kids. And they're just like level with the audience, and they just keep ripping. It's like a 10-minute, 15-minute straight video. It's insane. It's great.
That track that they played, like one of the most powerful tracks I've ever heard.
And they're filming too. They keep going back and forth from the. Yeah.
If this wasn't being recorded, I have some stories, but I'm not going to say them.
Go ahead.
No.
He's got to save it for the after blast, for that Patreon extra shit talk.
I don't trust this guy. So, you know.
It's all good. No worries.
I don't trust this Oscar guy. He's gonna just sell it all. You know.
No.
Yeah, he'll just make your interview clip on the CD.
Yeah.
Just you talking about, oh man, I got addicted to food. Now I just ate a Big Mac, and then just your track.
that would be fine.
That would be fucking awesome.
That would be good. That's the clip you need to use.
No, gossip is fun. There's so many good stories, but it's.
How about? Can I just say one more thing about drumming? I fucking love Adris Hoyos. She's my favorite drummer from Harry Pussy. She's my favorite drummer. She would lose her drumsticks in the first 30 seconds of playing and drum with fucking beer bottles. And I know because she threw one at me once as well. in a friendly way.
Right. And to add more to like the drumming thing is just this idea of like there's this girl I follow on Instagram who I've been following her for years from before that. I forget on other platforms and stuff, but she's a visual artist and recently started drumming, and I'm blanking on her name right now, but she's god awful as a drummer, like not good. No technique, no understanding. Like she just started doing it and was
That
like
sounds great.
fun. But the recordings that I've heard, they're super blown out and very like distorted, and it's like her not having any technical ability almost adds to it, because I don't think it works when it's just like listened to acoustically, but with post-production on it or just some like, effects added to the recording, it's unbelievable. It's really fucking cool. And I've just been thinking about that idea of like bad drumming because there
was another thing. I think we talked about it in another one of these meetings, but I'll bring it up again. There's an album, I can't remember, a CD on Freak Animal. I can't remember the name of it, but the concept was people who use junk metal percussion in noise, and maybe a couple of you guys were on it. I don't even know, but Mika released that album, and it's kind of an interesting idea that it's like no distortion, no effects allowed, only microphones and just junk metal. So it's almost like an acoustic album. It's like an unplugged album, noise unplugged kind of thing. I don't know if you've heard about that or if you have, but it's really good. And it's really interesting, like people's sort of non-rhythmic noise techniques, mostly non-rhythmic, the way people kind of, they still make a kind of noisy thing that progresses without any real beats or anything. And this is interesting to me.
Speaking of acoustic noise, did anybody hear that Power Acoustics tape that was out on Black Ring Rituals?
No.
It's I forget who it is, but it's some guy doing power electronics covers, but just with a piano and unaffected vocals. And he does like White House covers and shit.
Whoa.
I saw link a Death Pile cover. Yeah. It exists. Cool.
You guys, on that note, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna have to sign off here. We could talk for probably another 3 or 4 hours. But
like always.
Yeah. But
looks like what you guys been listening to. Let's get that since we're hitting that point.
No, I gotta go. I gotta go. We'll do this again sooner. We'll do this again sooner than later. Thank you guys for coming through. This is gonna go out live on air tomorrow, so I'm not
Thank you, Oscar.
Not editing anything. Thank you guys for coming through, and
hop on the cord if you want to hang.
Yeah, exactly. Get on the Discord. There's a video thing on there, so like this can continue on just in the same way. There's no reason not to use it like that. So
cool.
All right.
Oscar, thanks for meeting all you guys that I haven't met before.
Can someone
welcome back.
Thank you.
Oscar,
please check your email.
I should say, John, welcome home, soldier.
Thank you, Mac.
Ciao. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. You can be part of the next White Centipede Noise video party, which happens at the end of every month, by visiting patreon.com/White Centipede Noise and signing up to support. All Patreon supporters are invited, all are welcome, and the recording of each party is shared privately on the Patreon on the following Monday. Visit patreon.com/White Centipede Noise to support and see all of the benefits for doing so. Thank you.